What are the pros and cons of having an at-home salon, working from home? What is the real deal? We're going to talk about all those details right now on the Biz Talk. Tracey, I've always thought you could find a way to work from home and not come to the office every day. Is that an option?
It is. Done. Be by the pool today. If you need me,
okay, let's cut
email
this idea. Cut the idea immediately.
It's brilliant. It's your idea.
No, I know. Bad
You're
idea.
the CEO.
Bad idea from the CEO. Okay, we've seen this come through a lot of our platforms, the conversation, and about at-home salon.
Yeah.
Right?
It's an interesting subject.
It's a very, very interesting topic. No question about it. I think the first thing we need to say is we're going to talk about the United States, right?
Right.
Because internationally, I think it's a little different.
I think so. And even each state kind of has their own rules and laws. And
it's true. I think this is just our opinion, generally speaking, on it. But obviously through our experience in the U.S., that's what we're talking about, right? Because this is what we know.
More like, if your law requires it and you're following all the guidelines for that, what are the pros and cons of working out of your house?
Of course. And, you need to make sure you check the laws of your state, so on and so forth, right?
I feel like we're at the end of a medication commercial when they're like,
I know.
Here's all the lawyer stuff.
This is a really interesting topic. On one hand, like, I have my opinions about it, obviously. I want to get your take first. I always love hearing what you've got to say on this subject. As an experienced, very successful nail professional, and being in the industry, you've got real experience in this area and expertise. What is your take on at-home salon? Just off the bat, yes or no?
I couldn't actually tell you that. And this is why. It depends.
Okay.
Do you have a clientele, or are you fresh starting out?
Okay.
First starting out? No.
Okay.
Already have a clientele? I see the draw. There's a yes there.
Okay.
For me, a no.
Okay. So I like how you chop that up.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a black and white yes or no. It's very dependent on, it's very situational. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with just starting out. Why is that a clear no?
There can be a huge struggle to build clientele that way. Plus, just
why?
Because not only are you trying to build clientele, which can be very difficult in itself, now you're going, and by the way, come by my house.
Okay, let me just back up. Why is it difficult to build a clientele from your house if you're just starting out?
Because you are shutting off a lot of clients.
How? What do you mean?
There's a lot of people that do not want to go to people's houses to get services.
Oh, I see.
There's I'm a new client. I don't know you, and you're telling me to come by your house to get my nails done.
So, right. So, like, I'm trying to think about this. If I'm being marketed to, let's say, from a hairstylist in LA to get a haircut, and they're marketing, like, their location is out of their house, would I be a little weirded out? Honestly, yes.
Yeah,
you're
there's
right.
a step back. Like,
I
don't know you.
Yeah.
I don't know the situation.
Right.
I don't know. When you have a salon, I think there's this, like, a comfort level. There's other people around. You're at a business. You're at an establishment. You know what it's going to look like. You can actually drive by ahead of time and check it out if you want. You can look it up online. Whereas a home, that's so personal.
Yeah, it's very personal. There's no question about it. And straight off the bat, I would agree with you. And
yes. Video done.
Finished. See you next week. Okay, so go to a salon, and plus you're going to be around other nail techs, like learning, it's education. Huge. Yeah.
It's so even we've talked about this before. How I feel about if you're new going into a salon where you're the only nail tech. I really feel, and I know that's sometimes hard and impossible to do, but if all possible, if you can go in a salon where there's other nail techs, you're going to learn so much from that experience. Even if it's for 6 months, it's so nice to be able to have, the feedback from someone else. You're seeing how they're dealing with clients. You're just seeing how salon life is.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's now talk about if you've built up a clientele. Okay, let's talk about the situation. I like going into situations because I think different people have different sitches and
Of course.
to relate.
Yeah.
So somebody's built up a clientele. They've been in the salon. They want to move it to their house. What's your take on that? And they have a full clientele.
I think that there's a potential that you will lose some clients.
Some clientele.
Yeah.
That's almost a guarantee, right?
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
It really is. Because again, it's a little awkward, even if when you know the person, but I can see the draw. Like maybe you're wanting to, you're not wanting to do all the salon thing anymore. You want that privacy. You want that whatever. I see the draw of it. Me personally, I like separation.
Yeah.
I like my two lives to be separate. And I had a sister-in-law who actually had a salon out of her house, and very successful. I mean,
Yeah.
she was busy constantly, but there were people coming in and out of her house at all. People just showing up at her door, just showing up. Can you do my nails?
Fix my nails.
She did nails and hair.
Because it's your home, they feel like I'm just gonna pop in. I'm gonna pop in.
Or 11 o'clock at night. It's not a big deal. You're home. You're home. And so there's no separation.
That's a real problem.
It's a huge problem.
What if somebody has if they actually have like a separate studio, so they have their home, and they have like a separate studio on their property where they can make that, there's a separate entrance, side gate into the back. I'm just looking at all these situations.
Yeah.
What about that?
To have a salon, usually at different states, you do have to have separate entrance. And all that, even if it's attached to your house.
Okay, got it. So you're talking about even that.
Even that, because I don't care if it's in a separate little shed in the backyard. You're not there, they're going to be knocking on your front door.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I've seen it, and she didn't have a problem with it. She just but her husband hated it, and she had kids, and there's these people at her house, and then they feel very comfortable in staying.
Got it.
Just chilling out.
Because it's your home.
It's your home.
Let's have a drink.
Yeah. So, there's that to look at.
What if, okay, I agree with you on all of this. Okay. I think there might be some situations for people where, like, if you don't have a choice, right?
Yep.
So if it's like you have zero money and like you can do anything, right? If you had to build from your home a clientele, you do whatever's necessary, right? It's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but it's just like salon. There's boundaries, and you got to let the rules be known. For instance, do not come by my house.
Yeah.
These hours are my business hours. Or maybe it's even like I don't really have business hours. It is a call before come kind of situation, or you have to have an appointment kind of thing.
Okay, so I like where this is going. For me, if you don't have a choice, right? If I didn't have a choice and like I needed to save money, or temporarily I had to like, hey, look, I got to move back in the house for a year or two before I go back. Whatever, everybody's situation is different. Life happens. If you had to do that, so important to set, like we talk about setting boundaries in the salon where it becomes difficult because it's a service and you're grabbing their hands, you're holding hands for an hour or 30 minutes to an hour. It's a very personal experience.
It is.
So if you are going to take it to your house now, setting boundaries, we talk about in the salon setting boundaries, you really have to set the boundaries and like communicate to your clientele, this is really just like, this is my business. I just want to be clear. Like, I love you, but like, here's my hours. We're going to do this just like the salon. And really communicating that, or else you're going to have that sitch where they're just going to pop in, hey, I need it broken down, I need this fixed, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, they just come by. And another issue that you can find yourself in, that she did find herself in, is people didn't want to, they just like randomly write out money, like what they thought that what they should give her. Like it
wait. What?
Yeah. which she didn't have the boundary there, right? She didn't have like these set pricing. So that these, because people are like, oh, it's her house, and they just write like, oh,
We're buddies.
Yeah, we're buddies. Here's 40. Like they were doing her a fave kind of thing.
When she was in the salon, did she had, of course she had set pricing and all that, right?
Yeah.
But so what you're saying is when she moved back home, like everything sort of, it became more hobby-ish instead of like
she was jamming. She was full on business. I mean, she worked a lot of hours, but
at home.
But here's the thing: she worked in the places she had worked prior. She was working for people. Prices were set.
But when she moved back home, was she cranking still? Was like the volume there and people?
She had a lot of people coming by. She that I saw. I mean, she was making good money ish. But it was very, and people felt like, oh, I'll just stop by in a week or so and pay you. Like it was very, very random.
You know what I think part of that issue is, Tracy, is there's already an issue with nail professionals not charging what they should, right? Number one. Number two, not charging for nail art and really upselling the way that they should, upcharging the way they should, right? That's already an issue that we work on with nail pros to try to get your business dialed in better. Now imagine you move your business at home and now you have no rent. Like you're going to be like, oh, that's cool. I'm saving this much money. So anyways, no.
And your clients look at it that potentially, I'm not saying everybody does, but they can be like, oh, she's from home. She doesn't have overhead at all. Like, oh,
Don't matter.
I'm doing her a favor by flipping her this, $40 or whatever. And I don't need a tip. It's her house, whatever it is. Like again, boundaries, rules, set pricing.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I think a lot of, if you're a nail professional and you're struggling to set your pricing where it needs to be. If you're a nail professional and you're struggling to charge for like nail art, if you move back home, you're going to be in trouble. I really think that. I think you're going to have a real issue like collecting money or like, yeah, pay me later, just because you're saving on that overhead, which is real. That can be what, $200 to $300 a week?
Yeah.
Is that cheap, or what's the average, maybe, would you say?
I think it really depends, like different areas. Reading, it used to be like $350 a month, but here it's like
what is it here in Steph? What is it here in like Orange County for like a salon suite weekly if you wanted to rent? $250 a week.
Yeah.
So you're talking, that's $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So you're putting $1,000 a month of pure profit in your pocket. You might find ways to say, "Lo, it's cool. I'll let her off the hook. If you're already doing that on your services, to do that now when you're at home, that could be a problem.
But then you eat up. If you think about how many times you end up doing that, you probably go past the $1,000 you're saving.
It's a slippery slope,
Yeah.
right? It's a snowball effect where you're right. You're gonna end up below that 1,000. Overall, like if you don't have a choice and if you have to do it, set your boundaries. Yeah. I think that's the big key here, right?
And I can see the benefit for someone, maybe, they have kids that are in school and they have to come home at a certain time. Like you can work up to that and you're already home, or maybe you have to take care of someone in-house.
Right.
I mean, there's situations and I know people that do it and they're successful at it, but again, it's the boundaries they have set.
Yeah. And those are real life examples of like, maybe you have that situation and you have to do it. And if you do, cool. Like there's obviously success stories with doing that, but the boundaries are really important. Make sure your clients are understanding that this is still a business, and you're going to give them the best service and the best nails possible, but it's still a business, and you're not going to lower your prices because you're saving money. You're still going to continue to charge the way you're going to charge. And yes, you're going to be making more money now, but it is at a cost of being at your home. And I could say this, like I live an hour commute each way. I actually have the freedom. I could work from home much more than I do. I could,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I usually come in at least 4 days a week. Usually on Fridays, I'll work from home. Sometimes on a Tuesday, I'll work from home. Sometimes it depends. But here's the thing. It's just not the same. And I like to step out and come here and work at the office. It's just, for me, it is a mental thing. And I really enjoy coming into the office and having that separation, like you said.
I think for me, it's one of those things where I'm at work, only work. not going to let, the dishes in the kitchen
Right.
or whatever else distract me. Like it's work.
Totally. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. Actually, I would really love to hear what, a lot of you are saying. And if you're in another country too, how is it there? Like in Europe, I know it's different in Europe, especially the UK, that it's pretty common and that's kind of growing.
Yeah, we have quite a few mentors that actually work from their house.
That actually do it. I know it is a different market, so would love to hear all about that as well. And with that, say thank you very much for joining us. See you next week on the Biz Talk.